Okay, let's jump into something really pretty mind-bending today.
Oh, yeah. What have we got?
It's this new discovery about two materials, carbyne and carbon nanotubes.
Ah, okay. Familiar territory.
Right, but they seem to be linking up in a way that, well, scientists just didn't see coming at all.
A quantum surprise.
Kinda. It feels like this connection happening at the tiniest scales, like a handshake nobody thought was even possible.
And understanding those kinds of interactions,
Mhm.
right at the atomic level, that's really how we push things forward.
Exactly. Designing next-gen smart materials, super sophisticated devices.
It drags us right into that weird, often counterintuitive world of quantum mechanics, doesn't it?
It really does. And the specific puzzle here, the thing that had researchers scratching their heads for a bit,
Uh-huh.
was how carbene behaved when they put it inside a carbon nanotube. In some earlier experiments, they saw something they literally just called a strange system state.
Because it didn't fit?
Didn't fit anything. No known models. It was a genuine mystery.
Right. How do you even start explaining data that just looks wrong, based on everything you thought you knew?
Well, that's the exciting part. There's a new international study led out of the University of Vienna, actually.
Okay.
And they think they've cracked it using some seriously advanced tools and some heavy-duty theory.
Finally figured out the strange state.
Looks like it. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack that breakthrough. We want to get into how carbyne and these nanotubes are actually interacting in this surprising way.
For what it might mean, right?
Yeah.
For nanoscale tech down the line.
Exactly. And we're sticking just to the sources you shared with us, as always.
Okay, sounds good. So let's break it down. The materials involved first.
Yeah, let's start there.
All right. The main player, as you said, is carbyne. Picture this. A chain of carbon atoms, just one single atom wide. Super thin.
Almost impossibly thin.
Right. And getting it stable enough to even study was a huge challenge. That breakthrough came around 2015.
Ah, yes, when they figured out they could stabilize it by basically tucking it inside these protective carbon nanotubes.
Precisely. And that stabilization was critical because carbene itself has some frankly incredible potential.
That's the strongest material ever idea, isn't it?
That's part of it, based on that early work. Plus, it seems to have really unique electronic properties, things that look really promising for, say, semiconductors.
So super strong and potentially great for electronics, but fragile.
Very fragile on its own. Which is why, in this context, the carbon nanotubes were initially seen as just a protective casing.
Like a nanoscale shield.
Exactly. Keeping that delicate carbene chain intact so scientists could actually probe it without it just falling apart.
Okay, so that's set up to protecting the chain. That leads us back to the initial puzzle, right?
Right back to it. Those 2015 experiments, they stabilized the carbene great. But then they looked at the data.
And saw something weird.
Totally unexpected. This strange system state that just didn't compute. It didn't match predictions, didn't fit the models. It was just odd.
An anomaly sitting there in the results.
Yeah, a real scientific head-scratcher just waiting for someone to solve it.
So here's where the new research comes in, the really interesting bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
This new team decided to tackle that inexplicable state directly. It was an international effort. You mentioned Vienna leading.
Yes, work involving Emil Parth and Thomas Pichler specifically was highlighted. University of Vienna.
And cracking this, it wasn't simple. It took some serious scientific firepower.
What kind of tools are we talking about?
Well, techniques like Raman spectroscopy.
Ah, okay. So looking at how the atoms vibrate.
Exactly. You shine light on the material, see how it scatters, and that scattering pattern tells you how the atoms are jiggling around.
And those vibrations, they're like fingerprints, right? They tell you about the material's property.
Precisely. Like its electrical conductivity, how stiff it is, how it handles heat. All sorts of things are linked to those vibrations.
Okay, so Raman data. What else?
They combine that experimental data with some very advanced theoretical models. But here's a key thing. Actually applying those super complex models to this specific system.
Tricky.
Apparently really tricky. It was only possible because of recent advances in machine learning.
Ah, so AI helped bridge the gap between the theory and the experiment.
Seems like it. Help them process the complexity and spot the patterns that were basically hidden before.
Okay, so they have the tools, the data, the models. What did they find? What is the strange state?
This is the core finding. It explains the paradox. They found that even though the carbene chain and the nanotube are, in a classical sense, electronically isolated.
Meaning no electrons flowing between them, like insulated wires.
Right, no charge exchange. But they found there's an unexpectedly strong coupling between their vibrations.
So they're not talking via electrons, but they're vibrating together very strongly. That's the connection.
That seems to be it. It's a quantum mechanical link through vibrations, not electricity.
Huh. And you said unexpectedly strong. Why is it usually weaker?
Well, normally this kind of vibrational coupling between different materials is, pretty weak, almost negligible, often ignored.
Not here.
Not here at all. It's outstandingly strong. And the reason seems to be down to Carbyne itself.
Its own properties?
Yeah, its unique electronic structure and the fact that it's inherently a bit unstable, structurally speaking.
So it's kind of twitchy, easily influenced.
That's a good way to put it. It makes the Carbyne hypersensitive to the tiny movements or vibrations in its immediate environment, specifically the nanotube walls.
So that sensitivity amplifies the vibrational connection. They resonate powerfully together.
Exactly. It's like they aren't connected by a wire, but they're sitting next to each other, and one is so sensitive it perfectly picks up and resonates with the slightest vibration from the other, creating this really strong bond.
Synchronized vibrations, okay. Wow.
And another interesting thing the study revealed is the nature of this interaction. It's not just the nanotube affecting the Carbyne.
Oh, the Carbyne pushes back.
In a way, yes. It's surprisingly reciprocal. The Carbyne is obviously very sensitive and reacts strongly to the nanotube, hence the strong vibrational coupling. But the study shows the Carbyne is also subtly changing the properties of the nanotube itself.
Ah, so it's a two-way street, vibrationally speaking.
Seems so. Maybe not in the way they first guessed, but the influence definitely goes both ways.
Okay, that's a fundamental shift in understanding how these two interact. So what does it all mean, practically?
Right. The so what question. The potential applications seem to stem directly from this new understanding.
Because the Carbyne is so sensitive.
Exactly.
Wow.
Because it's so sensitive to external influences, and now we know there's this strong, measurable vibrational link to its surroundings.
Okay, I see where this is going.
That combination opens the door to using Carbyne as a kind of sensor.
A tiny nanoscale sensor. And optical, because they use light, like with the Raman spectroscopy.
Precisely. A contactless optical sensor operating at the nanoscale.
Wow. What kind of things could it sense?
Well, they specifically mentioned using it as a local temperature sensor.
For measuring heat transport on tiny scales, that's notoriously difficult.
Right. Imagine being able to map heat flow with that kind of precision.
That could be huge for designing better electronics, managing heat in microchips, tons of things.
Absolutely. And if you zoom out, connecting this to the bigger picture, understanding these quantum-level interactions, like this powerful vibrational coupling.
It's fundamental.
It really is. It's essential if we want to actually engineer future materials and devices with really specific, fine-tuned functions, especially these ultra-sensitive nano-devices people are dreaming up.
So the mystery wasn't some weird electronic thing after all.
Nope. That's the key takeaway from this deep dive, isn't it? This strange system state wasn't strange because of electrons doing unexpected things classically.
It was strange because of this incredibly strong quantum vibrational coupling that no one expected to be so dominant.
Exactly. A hidden connection working through vibrations.
And grasping that, fundamentally, isn't just tidying up an old puzzle. It's potentially a roadmap.
A roadmap. How so?
Well, it could unlock the door to actually making those super-sensitive nanoscale sensors we just talked about.
Yeah.
And maybe entirely new classes of smart materials designed to interact via vibrations.
That's true. It opens up a whole different way of thinking about how materials can talk to each other.
Definitely.
Which leaves you with a final thought, doesn't it? Consider this. If we can find these hidden, non-intuitive quantum links,
Like this vibrational one.
connections that just defy our everyday classical intuition about how things should interact, what else is out there? Could uncovering more links like this fundamentally change how we sense the world, or even interact with it at scales and maybe in ways we currently think are just impossible?
It certainly makes you wonder what other quantum handshakes are happening right under our noses.